Hello, Mum. Put together a video of the cottages and the ground, so I hope you like it. This very first part was a little bit windy, so I'm going to record over that. So this is the front of the building. You can see that dome on the left-hand side is the main room. You'll see it from inside, see the circle. Um, and then that's the main bedroom there I'm looking at now. And in fact, that's the manager's cottage. So that's one of the ones we rent out, 2 bedrooms. So you see cottage that the original workers used to live in that managed the gasworks. Let's see, that window is actually the window that the coal used to pass through, or the hole that the coal used to pass through when it was open as a gasworks. And in fact, on the lintel there, it's still got the coal dust from 100 and odd years ago. This is the way a guest comes in, so they see the main entrance. So this is reception as well as our front door, covered in glory vine. I'll explain what that is a bit later. That's the 2-bedroom cottage. We'll go in there in a second. I'll just show you down the side of the cottage. When we came to look at the property, this is all we saw, because there were people staying in the cottage, so we didn't pass down there because it was raining too heavily, and we didn't come in here either. So this is inside the manager's cottage. It's this is one of the bedrooms. See the bed, beautiful high ceilings. It's lovely and cool in here because it's stone. We'll go in there in a second, through into the kitchen, but it's got a living room. Me in the background. There's a real fireplace which works. People use it. You can go through into the second bedroom, which is obviously 4-poster, quaint number. And from there you can go up into the bathroom. Guests have left this morning, so it's still a bit of a mess. It's usually way tidier than this, but it's got a shower. This particular one's got a double spa as well. All mod cons. Walk through into an annex room, to the wall on the right-hand side. The lean-to kitchen at the far end. And then if I open the door to my left, this will take you out to what is the private, very private sunroom. From the sunroom, you can wind these plastic blinds up and you get your own garden, walled garden. The piece the other side of that wall is ours too, from quite a distance in fact. So come back out this way again and you will see the kitchen. Each cottage has got a kitchen with a cooktop, a fridge, microwave, no oven, but other than that, for a few days it's pretty perfect. Coffee machine. This particular cottage, because of that, it's got a back door, and you go at the back past the lemon tree. See that again in a second. And the private garden. So it is quite a beautiful garden. We'll go down the steps past the lemons. I'm sure you recognize most of the plants around the place. Underneath the cottage, and the guests have use of this as well, there's a room off to the left which is the laundry. And then if I take a tour around this way, then aside, just past that wall, is a rose garden. It's round, sectioned off. We've done a lot of work on this in the last few days since this recording. It needs a good prune. Past the peach tree. That's our project, in fact, the rose garden. This takes you down onto the bottom of the garden. In the distance, so sorry about the shakiness of the recording here. So I'm walking through the grass. This is our mowing. In the distance, you may be able to see, just under that tree, is a family of ducks. So they live there pretty much perpetually. We go down to feed them some mornings, but we always walk down here every morning. Let's see if they'll scarp her. It's a set of parents and 11 ducklings, so it wasn't a small family. The road up at the top is one of the main roads into town. We'll go into that later. The river at this point is approximately 9 feet deep. Doesn't look it particularly. It's been stirred up, but that's the view back. Now from where we are now, if I go forward just a little bit, this is pretty much the end of the property. We mow it all the way to the end, but it basically ends where I'm stood now. We get carried away doing the mowing. Dotted around the property, there's a number of love seats, little follies that have been set up, nice places to discover. Walking back towards the manager's cottage now. Again, apologies for shaking around. This was done on a standard camera, so not a video camera. You can see how green it is. Everyone's a little bit surprised this time of year. It's not usually that green. This is walking along the banks of the river. If I turn to my left, I should get a beautiful view of the manager's cottage. I think this is one of the best views of all of the manager's cottage. It's got everything you'd want. Lovely garden, full of plums. All round rose garden in the middle there. A few plants that we can't recognise, to be honest. Quite a few plants we haven't recognised. If I walk up this way towards what's actually my wine cellar, you should see, espaliered along here, pear trees. Now, this is my bit. We discovered this. This was 2 rooms we knew nothing about. My project to build a bar. This room was a very dark orange blue mixture full of cobwebs, no carpet, so we fitted the carpet. That was the colour of most of the room if it wasn't orange. But you'll see what colour, orangey, pinky colour. Surprisingly, there's not much storage in the house, so this room is going to get used for storage. Back outside to the pear tree again. I'll take you up the steps, and this will finish off the tour of the manager's cottage. For the rest of it, I think you're going to get wind noise because I'm going to go back to the normal sound, but hopefully you get a feel for what it was like so far. The arch, the local school does its school formal pictures underneath the arch. The possums like to pick off the nuts that appear on that thing. And this is our back door with the glory vine around it again. You'll see much more of that. Steps to the sort of middle terrace. One very happy cat, although we were out all day today, so she's not quite so impressed. We shall go down this way. Building in the distance is the stables cottage. So originally the stables for the work that was done here. Pepper tree. That door there is the door to the garden suite. And you can see our building. And if I look, you'll see a rare species, a lesser spotted heather, doing Christmas decorations, as only heather can. Just watch for a few seconds. The other side of the building, where the canaries have ended up in the shade, very happy. Nesting away. And we've got the atrium piece between effectively our part of the building and the garden suite. So it's got a back entrance as well as that. Okay, so the manager's cottage we did. This is the stables. So originally the stables for the horses that were kept on premises. Ready for Christmas. Let's go inside. So the stables is basically two large rooms. So the TV there, bottle of port, little kitchen, and you walk through. It's the room, the view from the window into the bedroom. Again, high ceilings, queen size bed, and spa bath. This one doesn't have a view from the bathroom window, although apparently one of the comments was somebody was alarmed that it didn't have any form of curtains on it. Whoever was trying to peek in would have to be about 6 inches wide. So if you want to, in the stables, you come down the path that screeching sound, by the way, it's Corellas. They're quite rare in the rest of Australia, but they're not rare here. Could be lovely, so they usually start that noise about 5 in the morning. Okay, less glamorous side, we have one of the wood piles. We have a wood fire heater in the main house, and behind that is a very large water tank. Water in South Australia is expensive, so being able to water the garden from that makes a huge difference. Shed which contains a ride-on mower, old duck house, believe it or not, pepper tree, and then down towards the bottom of the garden again, and we get to the dovecot. Resident doves are not home at the moment. There's 3 of them that live there. We feed them every morning, so usually around then. The garden suite. Possibly got one of the nicest aspects of any of the cottages. We come inside the garden suite. So this one we call the garden suite. Much more modern. Very big telly. It's probably got one of the best views if you look out there. It's great. That wall at the end, we've actually got a huge mural on there now. We did it last night. It's a wallpaper thing. It took us hours to do it. But this is the bedroom for that cottage, and that door there it goes into our building, so you can lock it from both sides to make it nice and private. It's got its own bathroom. This one doesn't have a spa, it's the only one that doesn't. But it does have a very big shower, and it has all of the washing facilities. So I couldn't resist showing you the mural we did last night. The front of it, I mentioned, the view you get for a long time. Put it up.
across
It
to the
was a bugger to
stables
put up, but I
cottage,
think it
out
just
onto the
adds into a
garden,
room that had a totally blank wall.
the roses
Hope you like
surrounding
it.
the door,
We
crab
certainly
apple
do.
tree.
So this is the main room. Got the mezzanine at the top. A few Christmas decorations. And the wood fire heater. Main entrance. Take you through to the what's currently the junk room. Heather's new cooker. There's going to be a cupboard here, so I'm going to put a wall across where that piece is. There is at the back a butler's pantry, I believe it's called. And if I walk through, this is the back of our cottage. So we're visitors, family. You can see it's got the high ceilings that we've got in every other room. The same original walls, and that leads through to the laundry, and there's a bathroom there. So it's not a bad sized room. This is a back door off of our junk room. It's down to where we do the washing. Very clever little pulley system. Keeps the birds off it. Come back. This is the kitchen currently. So that tower is going to go. Heather's oven's going in there. Keep calling it Heather's oven. You may be able to tell that this was once a bar. This room was a restaurant. The picture has finally found a home. If you remember when we first got that, when we first came to Australia. Yeah, this is the main bedroom. We're having some cupboards built because there really isn't enough space. There's enough space if it went up, however. If you remember from the outside, that's the window that was the coal room. Should be able to see Heather pruning. She's a daily job. And then in the corner of this room is a bathroom, but it's just built as little separate units. So this is the hub of operations up on the mezzanine. I think it can focus, but that window looks out onto the river at the far end. Front door, fireplace. When this was built, that banister there, which curves around, was built by a boat builder. Give it a nice feel. Remember from outside the building, there's that circle, that's the inside of it. So we managed to find a piece of, I guess, art to go in the middle, just to give it something. These walls, we're going to coat them in it's actually a see-through coating that bonds it, because at the moment they're a little bit crumbly. I guess a few hundred years will do that to you. Look up there, you'll see the height of the ceiling. We clean that during the week. Heather stood at the furthest extent of the ladder, me halfway up the ladder holding the vacuum cleaner above my head so she could reach upwards. Wasn't pretty. Hope we don't have to do it again for a while. The last part of the tour. Take you out to where we have breakfast. It's a breakfast spot. We've put fairy lights all the way around. This is called a glory vine. Glory vine, to all intents and purposes, is the same as a normal vine, except, if I can focus in on it, these little things, the little flowers, never develop into grapes. And apparently you wouldn't want it to, otherwise you'd be surrounded by flies and bugs. That's why they do it that way. But this is the end of the outside tour, I think. We just planted some herbs. When I edited this, I realised I hadn't actually shown you down the very bottom of the garden, so we'll do a little check across there. So from here you can see the dovecot in the distance. We've got the pepper tree on the left hand side. Walk down onto the lawn. The silvery tree on the left, I haven't got a clue what that is. We've tried a few times to find out. See the various bird life hopping around. Garden is full of life all the time. What I didn't show you last time, I came to the bottom of the rose garden, but if I turn left from where I am now, it'll actually take us down to the terrace. Here's Heather coming out to say hello. We're off to go and get a cup of coffee in the town. We're going to walk along the outside of our grounds first and then take the river road down. I'll show you that in a minute. So, down the little grass bank. From where I'm stood now was all underwater the day before we took over the property. See the corellas flying across. In the distance there's a public walkway that goes all the way to town. The people on the far side, interestingly enough, from where they are, they really don't get to see anything of us. It's quite interesting because you see and hear everything they say, but from their side you don't. There's a moorhen in the middle of this screen. It just disappeared into the reeds, but I suppose you get to see it. Our little island, all of this was underwater when we first came, which is about the maximum height it ever gets to. See the water trickling through. Again, the sound of the wind was making it too difficult to play that. This is the view you get, if you like, from the other side of the river, all lit up with fairy lights at night. So if I walk along the banks here, past where the pobblebonks and the other frogs tend to gather, past the mulberry bush. The water at this point is about 6 inches deep, a little bit cloudy at the moment, just because of the rain we had last night. Heather sat on one of the other love seats. patiently waiting for me to go and get her coffee. So now we've walked under the bridge on the far side of the river, walking towards the town centre. Again, so what I'm going to do is about every 100 yards I'll do a little bit more filming, so you'll see up there this is all beautifully maintained, lots of walkers and people exercising, and this heads into town. 100 yards further on, there's a barbecue area here. The end of that path was where I stood a few moments ago, and the other side of those trees is where our house is. Heather's currently looking for pine cones for Christmas decorations. By the look of the expression on her face, I don't think that one's suitable, apparently. Up there on the left is the pub called the Terminus. It's one of the first buildings that was built in the town. Beautiful location, just been redecorated. Not my favourite pub, it's the TAB, it's the one that has the horse racing and all the rest of it on the walls, but not bad. So 100 yards further on again, you'll see the St Andrew's Church. I think that's the first thing we saw and fell in love with when we came here. And up there is about 20 gorillas who were going nuts again. It was drowning out everything else anyway. So we'll walk underneath that bridge in the distance and that'll take us into town. Just this side of the bridge, there's 5 churches in the town. So each denomination's pretty much covered. And then we walk into the park, which is the Soldiers Memorial, the Anzac Memorial Park. It's beautifully maintained. This side of the bridge is the centre of town. So again, another 100 yards further on. You can see how well maintained it is. The building's in the distance. There's a couple of pubs up at the top there. Various shops and antique stores. A little building at the top of the hill is the pub we saw from the other side, so we've just gone around the bend of the river, the Terminus. A little bit further into the park. The water on the first day was actually up lapping over those chairs, so it gives you some idea of how far it came. You'll see some of the trees have been stripped by the corellas. They've ripped the branches off and just break them. About time for a conversation with Heather. We're at a hotel. Good food. This street and the high street, which is where the gas was used, that came from the gasworks, was used in a film, The Picnic from Hanging Rock. It was meant to be set in Victoria, but all of the street scenes were done here. So,
famous mural?
I'm not convinced how famous it is, but there you go.
Apparently.
Okay. All the buildings look like that. The mill that was mentioned on that from the original was there. The first pub I pointed out was the pub that was the very first established building. You see the ducks, like it here, down the bottom there. That's the swimming pool. And next to the swimming pool is the bowls club. This is Strathalbyn. We're going to go and get a coffee now. And then I'll edit this.